Okay, this is Voicemail Pro Auto Attendant Part 2. Last week we had Part 1, and we had on our surveys that we reviewed, we had some people suggest that maybe we slow down, not try to cram so much information into the presentation. So what I did last month is re-record it. It's posted up on our YouTube website, which is Part 1. Kind of went over the same thing I did during the live broadcast, but I streamlined it, made it a little more simple, and decided that we would make a part 2 for this month of August, which would finish the objectives that we didn't get to last month. So let me show you this website if I can get it to open here. Here's the Agility YouTube site. And as you can see, part 1 is right here. The Agility Avaya IP Office 9.1 inbound call routing. So we're doing part 2 today. So if you feel like we're starting right in the middle of a process, it's because we are. And you can go out and watch the part 1 video as many times as you need and kind of see where we're picking up today. And hopefully it flows for you pretty easily. We also have some other videos out here that are some of these. You see with the gray background, these are from last year, which are 9.0 release mostly. So you can go back and see how things are different from last year, this year in the software on some of the screens. Anyway, let's get started. Make sure I'm recording. Yep. All right. Everything we're talking about today is Voicemail Pro. So if you have embedded and you think that your voicemail system's a little different, it very well could be. You could log into your manager and find out real fast what release or what flavor of voicemail you have. If you go into manager, go to licenses. In here you'll see preferred edition Voicemail Pro. This license enables the more robust flavor of voicemail for the IP Office. And that's what we're going over today. This is where we left off last month. Okay, so it's a basic auto attendant. An auto attendant is a pre-recorded menu that plays when customers call into your business. And these pre-recorded menus can play after the receptionist, before the receptionist. It's kind of however you want to design it. So what we're kind of going over is basically I want to show you the tools. I'm not so much showing you how to program your company, but I want to show you the tools so you know how to do some basic programming, and then once you learn how to do it, then you can go in and experiment with your own system and decide how you want to implement that in your current business, and what features we show here may apply and may better the way you guys are currently doing things. Anyway, this is where we left off last month. Our objectives today, we have 4 main objectives here. The first one is to create an inclement weather line, okay, that can be enabled remotely. So on a bad day, a bad weather day or snow day, and you need to enable that weather line, you need to be able to do it remotely, right? And you need to have it secured with a PIN. So not anybody can call in to this line and enable it maliciously. So we'll show you how to do that. We're also going to add a button to the receptionist phone. So right now our call flow is set to, at a specific time, say 8 a.m., all calls go to the receptionist first, okay? And then all calls are going to the day menu. But maybe we want them to go to the receptionist, and after they go to the receptionist, we want those calls to go to a day menu at that point. And so what we were going to do is give the receptionist a button to enable and disable those calls in that way. We're also going to add an away button to her phone, and what this will do is allow calls to be rerouted to a customer service hunt group. So let's say our receptionist gets up, goes to the restroom, or has a meeting that they need to attend themselves. So those calls don't go unanswered for a temporary period of time. Maybe the receptionist presses a button on her phone and reroutes the calls to another hunt group for those calls to continue to be answered. Also, we're going to add programming to customer service members so that they can view those customer service voicemails inside of their own extension through visual voicemail, because the default inside of visual voicemail is to just view their own messages, not all of them, not the messages for, say, the hunt group. These are going to be the scripts that we use for our weather. So I don't know if you want to take a screenshot of that real quick. But basically, this top script right here is just going to say that our offices are currently closed due to weather. And then it gives them a list of the standard options that we have for our lab here today. This obviously will be different for yours. And then we're also going to have a weather admin menu. And this is the menu that you hear when you call in as the administrator of the system and want to actually invoke the weather greeting. So this is kind of an internal menu. And this weather admin menu, this is the one where we'll activate or enable a pin on it. So only specific people in the organization can enable weather. This is what visual voice looks like. So in this scenario, this is one of our objectives, is we're going to enable visual voice for hunt group members to check voicemail for the hunt group itself and not just their voicemail messages. So in visual voice, if they press the message button, okay, this is a 9608 phone, by the way. If they press the message button, by default everybody has the listen. Okay, listen is their own personal voicemail box, but they may also have responsibilities to check their hunt group voicemail. And in this case, text is the voicemail group in which this extension also has to check. So they can see they have visual voice for multiple voicemail boxes. Okay, let's jump right into it. What I'm going to do now is pull up the Voicemail Pro client. Here's our client. This is where we left off last month. And this is the config for our lab system. So let's just take a quick rundown of what we currently have set up. This is our main number coming in. And that's not a real number, so if you dial that, I have no idea where you're going to go, by the way. Alright, so the main number comes in. It hits short code *900. *900 goes to Attendant. Attendant is going to be a voicemail node, and this name has to match exactly what we have over in Voicemail Pro. And here you can see under shortcodes, we do have Attendant programmed. It hits this start point. It hits the holiday check. Okay, this is what we created last month. So if you don't know how to configure or program your holidays, go look at on the YouTube site, look at the first video, and I'll walk you through step by step how to create and enter in your holidays. Okay, if it is a holiday, it plays the holiday menu. If it's not, it goes and checks for office hours. If it's during office hours, it's going to play the day menu. If it's outside of office hours, it's going to play the night menu. Alright? So our first objective is to create an inclement weather line that can be enabled remotely. Alright, so let's do that. So first thing we need to do is we need to create our weather menu. We're going to create the internal weather menu for the admin to access. So we'll just call it INT, weather INT, or you can name it weather admin, whatever you want to name it. Alright, we need to create a menu here. And we're going to have multiple options on our menu. So we go to touch tones. So we're going to have option 1 is going to be to enable the weather greeting. Option 2 will be to disable weather. And option 3 will actually allow us to re-record the weather greeting itself. Alright, So there's some base programming there. We'll actually have to come back to it. We need to create the user-defined variables. So what this is, and it'll make more sense the farther we get into this, but this is actually a variable that we create that's going to be a checkpoint. So the call flow can go and refer to this variable. Is it true or is it false? If it is, go this way. If it's false, go this way. And we'll just call this weather. Alright, we need to create a couple of start points here that are actually going to set that weather setting as to whether it is open or whether it's closed. So we'll call this weather open. Weather closed. Okay, we'll do the weather open first. And we're going to set user variable. And the user variable that we are going to set right here is the weather. Okay, the reason that was in that drop down list is because I had already created it under user variables. Okay, and we are going to set this to open. So what we're saying in this programming here is when this variable is activated, we're going to set the weather user variable and we're going to set its status to open. And we need to connect the dots with the connector up here at the top. Alright, we need to do the same thing for weather closed. Set user variable. And we're gonna, this one will set the weather variable to a closed state. And I add this disconnect because we found inside of Voicemail Pro, if you activate the user variable too quickly, it doesn't actually set. So we need something to disconnect the call, and it'll make more sense here in a minute, because we're going to play this weather closed, and it's actually going to have a greeting here that says the weather is now closed. And once that recording has played, it will disconnect the call. And that, we found that having that recording there lets the person who is setting it know, one, what the state is, and it also allows enough time for the system to actually activate what has just happened. We'll connect the dots. Okay, the attendant here, this is kind of the quarterback of all of this. This is what ties all these menus together. So what we need to do is add an intercept here for weather routing. And I just kind of highlight all these so I can move them down. Oops, take that connector off. Let's do this again. I'm going to move all of this down because what I want to do is I'm going to add the weather intercept in right here. Disconnect this. So before we were doing the set user variable. Now we're going to do a test user variable because we want to test the user variable that we just set. And the user variable check that we want to run against is weather. And if weather is open, we want that to be true. And it has to match this word exactly, and it is case sensitive. So if it is set to open, it will be true. Any other value will be false. We need to get our routing in. Call it on. I think I have some names here. Okay. We need to select where I want it to go. Oh, we haven't created the weather yet. We'll just hold tight here. Let's save. As I program, I save constantly in case I get struck by lightning. It'll be there. Okay. What we need to create, we have the internal menu going here. This is for the admin to activate. So 1 is going to enable weather, 2 is going to disable weather, 3 is going to re-record weather. And so if we press 1 to enable weather, we want that call to go to open, because 1 is going to enable weather or open the weather line. I can give this a name here to open. Okay. This one's going to be close. By the way, this is just a name. It has no bearing on the programming right here. This is where all the programming is actually taking place. Alright, so 1's going to open, 2's going to close, 3, if you remember, will allow us to re-record the actual greeting that our callers hear. So let's program that. That's going to be this edit playlist. Alright, so we just need to connect the dots. Again, this is programming the menu that our admin will call into from a remote location, maybe from home, on bad weather days to actually activate or close the weather or re-record the weather greeting itself. Alright, let's save that. Now we need to create the menu that our callers will hear. And we'll just call it weather. Okay, we need to add the actual menu. And I always have my script written out first. That way I know exactly what I need to program. So right here we have our offices are currently closed due to inclement weather. Imagine that. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. You guys remember how to program that from last week? So the way we do that is we need to add programming here. And our extensions on the IP Office all begin with 2s. So they're in the 2000 range. They have 4 digits. So the programming here is 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, sorry. 4 digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. And they all begin with 2. Alright. Option 1 is going to go to sales. So because it's a weather day, people may or may not be in the office. So we'll just transfer it over there. If someone's in the office, I guess they get brownie points for driving in. If they're not in the office, it'll eventually go to voicemail. And when they return, They can either check that voicemail maybe through voicemail to email if they're working from home, or when they return, they can check their voicemail messages and get back to their customers. So option 1 and then option 2 is going to go to accounting. And option 5 is going to leave a message in the general voicemail box. Here's our basic menu. By the way, this is pretty close to the same as our day, our holiday, our night. I don't know, I kind of like to keep continuity between all the menus because the callers, they're real repetitive. They know I just need option 1, option 5, whatever if they call often. So at least starting out, it helps from an administrative standpoint also. All right, we need to connect the dots. Oh, actually, we need our destinations here. So we're going to do transfers. And we're going to have multiple of them. This always happens. Okay. Let's get these spread out. Alright, so option 1, it's going to go to sales. Again, that's just a name. Our destination is going to be our sales hunt group 2004. And that's it. Option 2 goes to accounting. And accounting, in this case, is just a single individual. Amy. She is at extension 210. Amy is accounting. Option 5 is to leave a message in the general mailbox. And the general mailbox in our case is going to be main, which is extension 2000. You can see right here. This option here is actually the first option, which told the callers, if you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. And that's going to be this 2 question marks. Again, these are just a name. You can put whatever you want to in here. And the programming on this is $key. $key. You can just type it in here on the specific tab. You don't have to go through the menu, but that's what it needs to be. $key. Basically, that takes those DTMF digits, holds them, and compares it against the extensions on the IP Office. All right, so now we need to connect the dots. And I just noticed a problem. I don't know if you guys see it. There is a problem here. This is a problem that happens quite a bit. I'm glad this happened. So, since all of our extensions start with 2000, we actually have option 2. Well, that's going to create a problem because as soon as I press 2 on that phone that's on inbound call, it's going to wait for the remainder of those digits to try to transfer to an extension. It's not going to honor that I'm trying to go to accounting. So what does that mean? It means I need to change my script, and I need to change it here. So option 3 needs to go to accounting. Alright, option 1 is going to sales, 3 to Amy, 5 to general voicemail. This last option, if you know your party's extension, dial it at any time, which we know has to start with 2, and it has to be 4 digits in length, and then it will transfer to a matching extension on the system. Alright, so there's that piece. We need to actually record this. So let's save this here. This is going to be called weather. Alright, I click the the device I'm going to use to record. I'm just going to use my extension sitting at my desk. So I'll select telephony handset. I'm sitting at extension 2050. I'll hit record. The voicemail system calls my desk phone, and I just pick it up.
Record at the tone.
Our offices are currently closed due to inclement weather. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. Press 1 for sales, press 3 for accounting, press 5 to leave a message in our general mailbox. Okay, I can play it back.
Our offices are currently closed due to inclement weather. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. Press 1 for sales, press 3 for accounting, press 5 to leave a message in our general mailbox.
Okay, I like that. So we'll close it. Remember, always check that link. That actually means there is a recording there. Click OK. Save it. Bam. We're good to go. We have another menu that we need to create. That's the admin menu. This is what we've got in place so far. So 1's going to open, 2's going to close, 3's going to re-record the WAV file. So to re-record the WAV file, which is the WAV file we just created, I need to point to it. Here it is, weather. That's the one we just now created. Okay, save that. I also need to record the WAV file that's going to be associated with this menu to let the admin know what options are available. We also need to lock down this menu with a pin so that not anybody can just call in and activate weather in the middle of the day, right? So I'm going to make it 2134. Okay, to open it, we need to, okay, we already have that going. So we have this going to our weather open under shortcodes, right? And we have this, should be going to weather close, weather closed. All this is in place. I just need to record this menu. And this can be pretty simple because it's not external to your customers, right? This is not customer facing. So let's just record this.
Record at the tone.
Press 1 to enable weather greeting. Press 2 to disable weather greeting. Press 3 to re-record the weather greeting. Okay, it's 5 seconds. That's good. Let's play it back real quick.
Press 1 to enable weather greeting. Press 2 to disable weather greeting.
Okay, it sounds good. For the sake of time, we'll just end that. We'll close that. 5 seconds. Okay, and save. Alright, we've made some ground here. We need to assign some shortcodes, right? So our shortcodes connect the IP Office call into Voicemail Pro. We need to create the shortcode that connects the internal weather menu to Voicemail Pro. I think that's the next voice shortcode I have available. 900, 1, 2, 3, yep. This is going to be voicemail node. That tells me it's going to voicemail. Remember, this name has to be exact. So what I usually do is I rename, just copy it. So now when I dial star 904,
please enter your access code.
Maybe I didn't. Oh, please enter your access code. That's the access code that we created, right? The 2134 right here. So that's good. Star 904.
Please enter your access code. Press 1 to enable weather greeting. Press 2 to disable weather greeting. Press 3 to re-record the weather greeting.
All right, so what we did is we've now created that internally. What we need to do is we need to record these real quick. Basically, this is going to say your weather is now open. Or, yeah. Telephony 2050.
Record at the tone.
Weather is now open. Okay, comfortable with that. That's open. We need to set it to closed.
Record at the tone.
Weather greeting is now closed. Okay, that recorded. I'm happy with that. Close. Okay, save. All right. So we have the basics, the core of our weather greeting created here. We need to finish inserting it into the attendant. All right, so this is where it performs the check to see whether it's open or closed. If it's open, it's going to go to weather. If it's not closed, if it's not open, it's going to, actually, it's not going to go to this. It's going to go follow the path. Hope that makes sense. All right, so test. If it is a weather day, it goes to weather. If it's not a weather day, it's going to go and check for holiday. If it's not a holiday, it's going to go check for office hours. Okay, so let's save that. So nowhere in Voicemail Pro can I actually see the current state of the weather user variable. That, in my mind, is where this may come up a little short. But what you can do is you just keep going through these set user variables until, well, you set it to close and then it should be closed. You just kind of have to know what the last option was you set. I also like to create shortcodes that actually point directly to these here. So let's see, we're at 904. I want to create one that points to weather open. This is 905. Voicemail node. This will point to weather open. 906. Voicemail node. This will point to weather closed. I don't know what I was thinking last month. There's no way we're going to fit all this in. Okay, 906 will be weather closed. We should also create a shortcode that points to the actual weather menu itself. These shortcodes really help in troubleshooting. So it's always a good idea, because if it's not a weather day and you need to listen to that weather menu, you have the shortcode to do it, right? Because you don't want to always have to test things while it's in production or while it's active and customer facing. So we'll do star 907. All right. Let me see. I don't see any questions out there. Again, if you guys have questions, just hit me up on the console there. Okay. So with everything that we have programmed now, if I dial star 907, I should hear, fingers crossed, my weather menu.
Our offices are currently closed due to inclement weather.
Now if I dial, let's say, okay, 904 we've already tested. Now if I want to activate weather, I dial 905.
Weather is now open.
Alright, so the weather line should be activated now. And if my programming is correct, again, fingers crossed, we should play the weather greeting when I dial into the main number. And I can emulate that by dialing star 900, right? Because our main number here is going to star 900. So we are set to open. Let's dial star 900.
Our offices are currently closed due to inclement weather. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. Press 1
And
for
it worked.
sales, press 3.
So because I dialed star 905, it went to this weather open, and it set the user variable to open. So when an incoming call came, it hit this user variable and it checked. Is it open? Yes, it is. So it's true. And it goes to the weather menu. So now I should be able to dial star 906, and it sets the weather user variable to closed, meaning that it's going to be false here and continue with the call flow.
Weather greeting is now closed.
Okay. Now if I dial star 900, it should play, in a perfect world, the day menu, because we are still within office hours.
Thank you for calling. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time.
And it did. So that's how we activate, that's how we program a weather line. We've done all of our objectives on that first, or actually, we've done all of the first objective except for make it available remotely. To make it available remotely, we just need to point a DID number to this internal menu, which is star 904. So I'll come here, I'll take a available DID, whatever it is. I'll just make one up, and I'll point it to star 904. So, as an administrator, or maybe this is delegated to somebody else in the office, on a weather day, they'll dial this number from their house. When they do, they will be played
Please enter your access code.
that message. They need to put in their code.
Press 1 to enable weather greeting. Press 2 to
Then they'll be able to enable the greeting or disable the greeting. And they'll also be able to re-record the actual greeting itself for the weather. Alright, let's go back to our objectives here. Let's just go here. Okay, change the current configuration to add flexibility by providing buttons to open and close reception. Right now, this is our main number. Hit star 900. Star 900 comes here to the attendant. If it's office hours, it's going to go to the day menu. Alright, maybe we don't want it to go to the day menu. Maybe we want our receptionist to have the ability to say, hey, I want calls coming to me. If I'm not available, then I want them to go to the day menu. So to do that, we'll get rid of that. We need to create another variable. We need to create a user-defined variable. We need to create one called reception. The idea on this is exactly the same as the weather. Recept open. Recept closed. Where is it? We're going to we're setting the user variable. This is closed. So we're going to set reception to closed. And then we're going to disconnect the call. Remember, we create the recording and the disconnect so it allows enough time, because if you just go into this reception closed real quickly, because sometimes like we did the other, we pointed a short code to it, and what people do is they dial the short code real fast and then they hang up the call and they just expect it to be enabled. But the system needs a little time to recognize, oh, okay, they just enabled this greeting. Now I need to take some action. So if we record that, we found that if we record it here and we create a disconnect, it gives it that enough time. So we're on the closed. We've set this to closed. Yep. We'll disconnect, and we just need to connect the dots. And we'll do the same thing with weather. Nope, reception. Open. Set user variable. Reception. Open. The reason you see that pop up there is because we're actually running a Linux server, voicemail server. So when I pull the call flow down to my PC, it has to push it back up, much similar to Manager. So we need to create the recordings. We're on reception open.
Record at the tone.
The receptionist is now open. And we do the same thing for closed.
Record at the tone.
The receptionist is now closed. I always check those seconds. Man, I got burnt on that hard one time, so I've learned my lesson. Okay, so we've got the reception open, reception closed. We need to actually add it into our flow. Thought I deleted that, but maybe I didn't save it. So the way this is going to look, we need to do a check test user variable. It's going to test reception. And if it's open, we're not going to go to the day menu, right? Because if it's open, we want it to go to the receptionist. So if it's open, we're going to go to a transfer to 2000. 2000 is our main hunt group for our receptionist. And if it's closed, we will go to the night menu. And the way this works is we just connect the dots and we save it. Alright, now what we have totally done here is we've bypassed the day menu altogether. Calls come in here, they hit star 900, which is this auto attendant. I think you guys are familiar with the short codes now. So this is hitting the auto attendant, does a check for weather, does a check for holiday, then it does a check to see if the receptionist is open or closed. Okay, and I should name these to something a little more useful. Okay. Alright. Now, we do still want to take advantage of the day menu, but it's not in play right now because if a call comes and the receptionist is open, it's going to ring the 2000 hunt group. Okay? And then it's going to, if the receptionist doesn't answer, even though it's open, it's just going to go to voicemail. Because voicemail's on, it's going to drop into the general mailbox. It never gives the caller the option to play the auto attendant. So this is a big piece here that is really useful. We take this main under groups. Okay, this groups means hunt groups. We're going to add a new start point. Okay, do a leave. All right, I'm going to take this day greeting. How simple is this? I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to paste it here. Bam. So look at this. This is how this is going to flow. Oh, let's stay on track. I'll show you the flow here in a minute. We need to give her a button. To do that, we need to create buttons on her phone for each of these. Reception closed, reception open. So let's find receptionist. Buttons. She should have parts here, but alright, we'll do open. Let's make it the same. Okay. We need to create our short codes that actually point, because what we'll do is we'll add our short codes here for the action data. So we need to create the short codes that actually point to, no, not yet. That actually point to reception open and close. So let's create that. Where are we at here? We're on 7. This will be star 908. This This is again going to be voicemail node. And this is going to be star 908 will be reception open. Star 909 will be reception closed. Okay, that looks good. So we need to add 909 and 908 to these buttons that we programmed over here for receptionist. Remember, all this is going to be on YouTube, so if this is too much, too fast, then you can always watch it again. I think 908 was open. 908 or 909 is closed. 909 closed, 908 open. Yep. Okay. 908, 909. So now, when the receptionist presses the open button on her phone, it's going to have calls flow to her first instead of the day menu. If she presses the reception close button on her phone, it's going to close the reception desk and it's going to send calls to night mode. Okay? This is good for those early outs, especially like right before a holiday, right? Okay. That's that piece. Let's go back to our objectives. Buttons to open and close reception. We've done that. Add an away button to the reception phone so that incoming calls are temporarily rerouted to the customer service help desk. So in scenarios where the reception is open but she is on a break, she can set her phone to away. And what we want to do is we want to set hunt group out of service. And we can define the hunt group here, main. She's part of the main hunt group. So she's going to set the main hunt group out of service. If she sets the main hunt group out of service, we can define where we want calls to go if it's out of service. And we want it to go to the customer service hunt group, which is this hunt group here. And these are all of the people that will ring if she steps away. So if she's on a break, she presses the away button, calls go to customer service temporarily. However, if customer service doesn't answer either, it's still going to flow using the main hunt group. It's not going to go to customer service voicemail. It's going to go to main and then going to go to the day menu that we've copied up under here for the call flow for main under groups. Alright, so we've created that button. Reception button programming. Yep, set it out of service. And you can troubleshoot these sometimes. Maybe the reception says I'm not getting calls. They're all going to the hunt. They're all going to customer service. And that button toggles, by the way. So she presses it once, it turns it to out of service. She presses it again, it goes back to in service. Okay. You can come in here. If she pressed it and forgot to or toggle it back, you'll see that it's out of service. You can come in here and just mark it in service, and it'll solve your issue with that call flow. Save those changes. And I think that satisfies that objective. The away button. Yep, it does. So add programming so that all members of the customer service hunt group can check hunt group voicemails using visual voice. This is something pretty simple, but I wanted to show you because it is useful. These are all of our users in the customer service hunt group. Brett, Danny, John, Laura. So let's give them all visual voicemail to be able to check customer service. To do that, we go to Brett. I'm going to go to source numbers, add. H is for hunt group, and then I just put the exact name of that hunt group. And if you press on help right here, it's going to tell you to do exactly what I'm doing here. Also, that help inside of Manager is great. You can really learn a lot about IP Office just on the help inside of Manager. Okay, we need to do 2012. Save that. We're going to do the same thing. So what this does is when they press the voicemail button on their phone, the visual voicemail will come up. They'll not only see their voicemail box, but they're also going to see an entry for, see, John has sales. He's also going to have customer service. So John's a busy guy. And these settings are instant. As soon as I click OK and I merge, remember, nothing happens until we merge. Then those settings will be there on their phones. Alright. Whew, it was a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot when I'm putting this together, but when I'm actually doing it, it does seem like a lot. And there are no questions, or everybody's asleep. Alright. We've met all of our objectives. They're all in play. And of course they all work. Again, here's a shot of the visual voicemail. So if you had multiple, you would see multiple mailboxes there. Need to get some announcements out of the way. This is our 2015. Let's put that here. This is our 2015 Agility Boat Party. Is coming up in September. If you go to the Agility website, you will have a place there to register for it. Everyone's invited to attend. Just go to the Agility site. Let's see if I can find our website. Agility Communications Group. Client Hub. Right here. AgilityCG Boat Party. Go here, sign up. There's drinks, there's entertainment. Basically, I haven't been. This is the first time in a few years they've done it. So I've been here for just over 3 years, so it must have been 3 or 4 years ago, but apparently it was really popular. Everybody enjoyed it, so we're going back to the boat party. Go out here, sign up. It's free, so come and join us. We're going to be there. You can meet our sales staff. You meet myself. I plan on being there. So it's just a fun night out. Also, let's talk about our support email address is support@agilitycg.com. Hit us up there. Ask us any question you want. We'll get back to you. At the end of this guru session, there will be a survey sent out to you guys. Please fill it out. It helps us better prepare these sessions for you. I feel like we need to really deliver in these sessions because you guys take an hour out of your day to attend, and we want to actually provide you something with value, and we know whether we're hitting the spot or not if you fill these surveys out, so that helps us out a lot. Also, if you have a support contract, you get free upgrades. That's the license to actually upgrade your system. This is a great way to cost effectively keep your system up to date instead of having to make large jumps every few years. The incremental jumps are so much easier on you and us, so that's a good way to stay up to date. AgilityCG.com events, you can find information there on these guru sessions. Also information like on stuff like the boat party, I think will be out there. Go check it out. Support contracts, if you don't have them, get them. There's 2 flavors. There's the advisor, which is break fix. If it's broke, we'll come in and fix it. It's really cost effective. Don't wait until something's broke to contact us. Have this advisor contract in place to really save you on your pocketbook. And then our extended team. What the difference between the extended team is, of course, it covers break fix, but it also covers programming. So let's say you want to redesign all of your voicemail attendants or your auto attendants, and you didn't watch these videos, or you just didn't want to take the time to do it. You want to outsource that to us. We can handle that. We just set up a call with you guys, get your requirements for the auto attendant, and we'll do it for you. and it alleviates the cost of the hourly rate for us to do it without that contract in place. Anyway, I don't see any questions, so you can always contact me at pfragua@agilitycg.com. You shoot me an email. Just put Guru in the subject, and I'll know what it pertains to, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But that concludes our session for today. It's right at 12 o'clock, so everybody go have a great lunch, and we'll talk to you guys next week or next month. Thank you.